Good morning. I am Councilwoman Pastor, and I'm so glad you're here to join me on this special event. 22 months ago, I met with Phoenix Cares. Phoenix Cares is a program that we bring at the City of Phoenix, everybody together to collaborate on many different things that we're facing in the city, in particular homelessness. And unfortunately, what I heard is that many shelters would not take people or families that had pets. So people opted not to take services, and in opting not to take services because of the pets. So I was kind of like, unsure. I decided with my team to test it. And I mean by test it is I went out to have that live experience. And I was out on Van Buren, and we went to a park, and that's where I met a gentleman. And the gentleman at that moment, I said, why are you not taking services? You know, you're homeless. And he said to me, I'm not taking services. My family has taken services. They're in a shelter. I have chosen to stay with my beloved pet, and we are not going to separate. At that moment, I realized, okay, it's a reality, it's true, and what can we do? So we went to work with everybody and decided we're gonna build what I call, it's not the official name, but what I called my vision and dream was to build a doggy hotel. And I said, it's gonna be like a doggy hotel, like a spa. I had this vision. And what ended up happening is I decided with the vision to go with partners. I needed partners who would understand. What also was a dream that is now going to become a reality was the fact that not only were the dogs going to be here, but also the mom or dad or family could come to the farm and also get services. If they were struggling from PTSD, if they were struggling from alcoholism, drug addiction, we worked it out with community bridges so that they would be able to come and get services, but not only that, be able to be with their pet, who is their family. So I was trying to eliminate all the obstacles so somebody would want to heal and also want to be with their pet. So my vision was a dream. I want to thank everybody to help me get to where we are today. And I would not have been able to do that without Hunkapi Farms. I always do this wrong. Hunkapi Farms, Midwestern University, Community Bridges, Phoenix Suns Charities, and the City of Phoenix, all my colleagues that believed in this, were the people that I needed. And so my dream is about to become a reality, and I would like to introduce Tara Shaw, who was my partner in crime in many things, but partner in crime in making sure that this was going to happen. And this also wouldn't have happened without my other partner in crime, Michael Peterson in Carvaya, who works for me and made sure that we kept on schedule and kept it with the plan. So I also want to give a round to them too.
Good morning, everyone. I could get emotional, so I'm gonna just pre-warn you. I'm Tara, and I'm the Executive Director of Hunkapi. This morning, as I was trying to figure out what to say for a press conference, which I've never done before in my life, I sat at a computer and everything came full circle, and I really began to understand. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. That's what my insides are doing right now. I'm right there with you. So I first want to thank Councilwoman Pastor and also Michael. No one gets to stand here today without a visionary and somebody who says, yes, we can. And my first thank you goes to them for seeing the impossible and saying that we can get it done. So round of applause for them. On December 31st, 2014, Hunkapi left this farm after receiving a 60-day eviction notice. That the purpose of our program no longer aligned with the purpose of this facility, which was boarding horses. the residents of this farm that were tenants in the barn behind me where I stand believed that children with autism were too loud. They believed that they flapped their hands and screamed, and those actions made their customers and their horses uncomfortable. I sat in disbelief right over there in our trailer of an office as I read the hand-scribbled notes, the hide behind the bushes complaints, and for the first time, and I cried at the sense of injustice, the ignorance, the lack of inclusion, the lack of compassion and understanding. I loved this farm. It was my home. It was my horse's home. And it was my dog Gertie's home, who's probably making some of you wet right now. I could not understand how something so unfair could happen to a program with our purpose. There was no farm we could go to that was big enough to support our program, our horses, our clients on the budget that we had at the time. And for the first time in my life, I sat right over there and I understood what hopelessness and how helpless being homeless felt. Within 5 days, with 5 days to go on a 60-day eviction notice, an angel in the form of a man that I barely knew came and bought us a farm that we could go to with the help of 100 volunteers that stepped up, and we moved the program there for temporary shelter. Some of you were here during that time. A year and a half later, the owners of this farm came back to me and said that they were removing the manager, and if I wanted to take back this whole farm and run the whole damn thing, that it was Hunkapi's to have. When we came back, we immediately removed all the fences, the no dog signs, the barriers, and the separation. We've opened it up to people of all walks of life and animals of all walks of life that need a place of respite. On one of the most memorable parts of moving back to this farm was watching Gertie come back to the place that was her original home and run around full of joy and expectation of what she was going to be able to do here, until she came running around right here and she skidded to a stop literally at the line of this concrete. And she would not cross it because going into this barn, she was so badly scolded as a puppy that she would never enter foot into this barn again. And I had to cajole her and reassure her that it was no longer the same and that she could come into this barn. There were no dogs allowed in there. 6 years ago, I needed an angel to give us temporary housing so that I could keep the 8 horses and 1 dog that I had for Hunkapi. That angel gave me hope, security, and the stability that I needed to rise, to get back on my feet and bring this program back in a way that is stronger and more purposeful than I could have ever imagined. Today, I am honored to pass that hope and opportunity for healing to others who need temporary housing and a place where they know their pets will be cared for. I got to be the person who said an obvious heck yes to Laura and to Michael. That was the easy part. That could not have been done without an army of volunteers and staff and donors and people willing to step up with us to get this project accomplished in 22 months. I have a few people that I need to thank. I want to first thank our donors, the Phoenix Suns Charities and Tom Chauncey. I want to make a round of applause also for Metro Builders and Parker & Sons, who stepped up and said yes to a project. Counted, we have over 860 volunteer hours that have turned this farm from a rat barn to a doggy spa hotel. The first troop to step up in the form of an actual Eagle Scout troop was Harrison Schulten and his family right over here, who brought a crew and painted the whole thing. And last but not least, I want to thank 2 men who have devoted literally every single day of their life over the last 4 months to make sure that we are ready to cut this ribbon today. Paul and Brady, will you please step up? Today we will be naming kennel number 1, the Paul and Brady Kennel, for their endless commitment to paws and healing.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you, everyone in this community who has said yes to more hope and more healing and helping this community in a way that eliminates segregation and discrimination. Thank you for your hearts.
Brady and Tara, congratulations, Tara.
So thank you, Tara. Talk about getting emotional. I have tears in my eyes, and I'm trying to hold myself together. But it's a great moment that we're here today. So, Tara, my friend, and then I had another friend that I needed, because we knew dogs from the streets were going to need special care and attention. So I called my friends at Midwestern University, Dr. Graves, who not only just stepped up to help with our mission and our vision, but he also helped in designing the barn, which I didn't even realize. Here's me again, not realizing all the nuances that go into this, specifically the drainage. We live in Arizona, so I would want air condition. Figured out that air condition's not good. We're now swamp coolers. So learned all these aspects of building a doggy hotel in this process. So Midwestern, as you know, is an impressive veterinarian school right here in Arizona. And so when I called Dr. Graves, he says, "Sure, Laura, let's do this." So I want to welcome Dr. Graves to the podium.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Laura, and thank you, Tara. So I just want you to know that we're the ones who are grateful. I appreciate the thanks from Councilwoman Pastor and from Tara and from the people at Hunkapi, but the wonderful thing about this place is how it melds so well with the vision of my College of Veterinary Medicine, right? So I'm a veterinary educator. My job is to educate future veterinarians. And there are a lot of things that I can do on campus at a university. I can teach anatomy and physiology and medicine and surgery and all of those things. But what my students learn here is something that can't be taught on campus. And that is the amazing importance of the human-animal bond. So there's this concept called One Health. And what it means is that human health and animal health and environmental health are all linked with each other. And that in fact, unless all of those are perfectly healthy, nobody is perfectly healthy. So for me, the things that Tara and her team are doing here are such amazingly strong examples of One Health. You see the importance of that when you see someone who's experiencing homelessness who has a dog with them. One of the things that I've always noticed is that those dogs are usually in better condition than the people who have them, right? And you know that if there's a person who's homeless and she's hungry, she'll still feed her dog before she'll feed herself. That's true. And that relationship that the two of them have is maybe the most supportive, loving relationship that person has. So, super important. So for that reason, I want to thank you, Councilwoman Pastor and Tara, for reminding me why I wanted to be a veterinarian, right? For innovating, for providing a way for our students to learn. There's one person here in the purple scrubs who I just want to point out. That's Dr. Herendine. She's one of our shelter medicine faculty members. I'm not the one who makes things like this happen and who does health care for animals. It's people like Dr. Herendine and the rest of our crew. So with that, I'll shut up. Deans tend to talk too much. So I'm trying to grow as a person. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative, and I'm so blessed that my College of Veterinary Medicine at Midwestern is part of this. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Graves, and for making Sit Stay Health a healthy and happy, safe place for our canines. Once again, I need another partner in all of this. And another big concern that we had was logistics. And when we called our Phoenix Cares partner, Community Bridges, they did not see it as a challenge, they saw it as an opportunity. So I would like to welcome Liz DaCosta to the podium.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to hear all the dogs cheering on their Voyager, who went into uncharted territories to create something great. I'm from Community Bridges, and we provide integrated medical and behavioral health services. We specialize in substance use and mental health treatment. In addition, we provide an array of services designed to end homelessness. One of them being our Phoenix Cares outreach program, where we have 16 navigators who go out into the city of Phoenix and interact with people experiencing homelessness. Since July of 2020, they served over 1,500 individuals, and they're currently serving 700 right now. So when you hear about those numbers, right, it is so important for us to have access to resources and for us to find efficiencies in access to those resources so that we can more quickly help people get connected. I'm going to tell you a story of someone who's going to be significantly impacted by this farm. Two of those 700, we came across an elderly couple who was sleeping on a sidewalk outside of a shelter. When I looked over at them, it was nothing but pure suffering. They were both sitting on the ground. The man was a disabled veteran with a walker. The woman had been working as a caregiver and became ill, and so she wasn't able to work. And so because of that, they were forced out of their home. The only belongings that they had were some blankets that they were laying on the sidewalk, and then 2 backpacks and 2 small kennels for their pets. They didn't have any food for themselves, but they had a big bucket of food for their animals. They were out there for 4 nights. They could have separated from their pets and then gone into shelter, but of course they're a family unit. Just like we have our family units, it's not something that we would ever do. So they were out there suffering, and we in outreach are designed to try to address the crisis first, right? So what's the crisis? And then how do we connect people to resources? We were able to assist the vet who told us that he had high blood pressure. We were able to assist him with seeing a doctor and actually getting a prescription filled before we were able to find foster for the pets in order to be able to move them into shelter. We actually stayed out there with them on the sidewalk for 4 hours trying to find a resource for foster so we can bring that couple indoors. Programs like Hunkapi Farms are going to solve that. It's going to offer efficiencies for us so that we can get out and be more efficient to go see who else is out there, what's next, who else needs services. In addition, it's not just foster care, as they've talked about, right? They open up their farm and their hearts to a complex problem. People out there suffering on the streets. Not only is your pet welcome here, but Community Bridges can transport you here to come visit your animal, support your animal, experience the role modeling of other volunteers who come in and support our community. I can't even imagine the opportunities that's going to present for those people, right? Are they going to find their purpose? Is it going to drive them into being successful in housing once they're stably housed? Hunkapi Farms and this community, we have the ability to be so creative. So it's so exciting to be a part of something that has been created to address that level of suffering. We're ready. Community Bridges has the authorization from our compliance department, and we have kennels in the back of our cars so that when we come across somebody experiencing homelessness, we've got everything we need to be able to bring them over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. As you can see, it's already happening. One big fan of mine during this time and during this process came to the center, and I went to them, and I went to the Phoenix Suns Charities and asked, I need, this is my vision, I need help, I need financing. And so Phoenix Suns Charities stepped up and granted us with, I want to say $50,000. And then I went back and asked for more. And so to finish the project. So they were gracious enough to do that, and I want to thank them. Before I move on, I would not, thank you. I would not be able to do any of this heavy lifting. As you can hear, it takes partners, it takes friendships, but I wouldn't be able to do it without Mayor Gallego at the forefront. So I would like to bring the mayor forward with Michael. As we sit on a council, I'm going to say 10 days ago, 14 days ago, the council changed, and it's now a majority women. And as women, we're problem solvers, and we come up with great solutions, and we get it done. And so I would like to invite Mayor Gallego to say a few words on this project, and thank her for the help of the funding that we also appropriated from the city council. You're going to be able to make it up here, Michael. Come here. Come on. Okay, hold on to her tight.
Thank you. I'm Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. My son Michael just said no more speeches, no more speeches. So I will just say a huge thank you to Councilwoman Pastor for seeing a problem and finding a solution, and thank you to everyone from CBI to the amazing owners who made this possible. Shortest speech ever.
So I will say thank you to my community partners, Scott Deathbridge Foundation, Sarah and Wally Dananopoulos. Did I do it? Sunland, Nacarado, Ellie Smith and Randy Deatheridge, Kate Kyle, Nicole Elliott at Live Generations, Kayla Haas, Michelle Chevery at Diverse Partners. I want to thank them all for what you're going to see, for sponsoring and helping with the doggy daycare. So I want to thank all of them. So here we go. Ready? 22 months of a vision. Dream to a reality. Let's just not wait another minute so no dog, mom, dad, or family has to stay on the streets and not get the help they need because of their pet. Let's cut the ribbon.